Hey guys, Slimber here, and today we're doing a video on everybody's favorite QAnon Karen, Mark Dice. Not Marjorie Taylor Greene, Mark Dice. Let's get right into this, shall we?
Maybe it's time we start doing things the old-fashioned way. Instead of just tweeting to Pizza Hut, because, in case you haven't heard, their Book It reading program is now encouraging elementary school boys to become drag queens.
So I'm just doing some basic research on this, and here, let me go ahead and minimize myself here. What am I looking for? Display capture. Just kind of doing some basic research here. And it looks like, oh shit, the HDR settings, it might look kind of weird on here. I don't know. But it appears that they are incentivizing reading, not drag queens. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Mark Dice. It's kind of weird. It gives them some sort of certificate or whatever for a free topping personal pan pizza. I don't know. QAnon people are fucking weird. I mean, honestly, like, they're pretty fucking weird. Like, honestly, out of all the conspiracy theorists, I mean, QAnon people, they're pretty fucking weird. Especially grifters like Mark Dice who don't actually believe in it.
Instead of just tweeting to them or posting on their Facebook page, maybe we should start calling local branches and ring the phone off the hook. And not just in this instance, and not just Pizza Hut, but every time a corporation goes woke, instead of just posting about it on social media, we should do things the old-fashioned way and call them on the phone.
I mean, if you call a corporate number, that might do something, but, like, an actual, like, normal phone number for, like, any old Pizza Hut isn't going to do anything. Those are just going to be people who don't work for corporate and work for a franchise answering the phone. Literally, that's going to do fuck all. I can't imagine that, dude. Like, you know, pick up the fucking phone, it's, "Welcome to Pizza Hut, I'm gonna take your order," or whatever the fuck. Drag queens. The fuck are you like, bro? I would hang up at that point. I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about, you fucking weirdo?
Seriously, what would happen if for just 1 week, 90% of the calls to local branches weren't from customers calling to order pizzas, but instead were people sounding off about what it is that they're doing to our culture?
Nothing. Absolutely fucking nothing. I mean, if we're just being quite honest, you're not gonna get 90% of the local calls to be that. Maybe in like a super right-wing area, but not all right-wingers have fallen for your fucking weird goddamn QAnon cult, dude. Like, there's some out there that are still normal people who aren't socially deprived and don't get all their fucking shit from Facebook. So it wouldn't be 90% of the people calling. It probably would be like 10%, maybe less than that.
Well, then the local manager would tell the local branch owner, who would then call back to corporate office and tell them that they can't even take any orders because everyone keeps calling to complain about what the corporate office is doing.
Mark, I'm going to assume you've never worked in any sort of management position at any sort of fast food or normal restaurant. But corporations, a lot of times, will make decisions that fuck over branches. For example, they'll get rid of something that sells very well at a branch, but doesn't sell well at other branches. They will sometimes add things to the menu that are quite expensive, that do not sell well at branches. They'll switch things up. For example, the store I supervise right now they have new chicken, and the chicken's fucking disgusting. It costs more than the old chicken. And it's like, it looks disgusting, it smells disgusting, I guarantee it tastes disgusting from what I've heard from customers. I refuse to eat it. So, the idea that corporate's gonna listen to that is kind of fucking dumb. I mean, especially when they're not even doing that. That's not even what's fucking happening. They might have said one-off thing that you're freaking out about, but there's kind of nothing they could do about you guys believing in fucking nonsense. So no, they're not gonna fucking change anything.
An old activist tactic that seems to have been lost to history called phone mobbing, because you organize a mob of people to all flood the phone lines. To be clear, this isn't harassment or doxing.
I don't know, it sounds an awful lot like harassment. I don't think harassment's necessarily bad in cases. If this was a legitimate thing, yeah, I wouldn't think harassment would be bad, but it's not. You guys are overreacting to fucking nothing, because you're all literally believing in this fucking idiot, Mark Dice, or any other conservative grifter. But, at the end of the day, it kind of is harassment.
We're customers giving our feedback to the very businesses that we've patroned countless times throughout our life.
But you're not customers. If you're not calling to order something, you're not a customer. Unless you're calling to pay for something, you are not a customer. I mean, that's literally a Karen point of view, by the way. Like, anybody who's worked fast food has probably heard the, I'm a paying customer to somebody who hasn't even paid yet.
Again, every product that's in your refrigerator, your cupboard, or your pantry has a 1-800 customer service number on it, and it's literally printed right there that they're asking for customer feedback. Come to think of it, the protests last weekend in Dallas, Texas at the drag queen event geared for the children might have been the first time that protesters actually showed up to denounce such an event. And look at the clips that it generated that went viral, it made the national news, but if you're gonna do that, you better be extremely careful, because you may have seen the footage. Alex Stein got assaulted. Thankfully, he wasn't injured, but they easily could have maced him or injured him. We're dealing with godless Bolsheviks here, so this isn't something that everyone should be doing. Did I say they're godless? I meant to say that they're satanic. There's so many more clips from countless other leftist grooming events that have happened just in the last few days.
It's kind of wild that, like, conservatives are talking about this as they try to implement genital inspection day in Ohio right now. Also, like, they never care about, like, legitimate groomers. Like, for example, I know somebody, by the way, he's on this shit. He's on this QAnon shit. But he is 50 years old. Knew a girl since she was 12. Got with her right when she was 18. He was, like, 48. That is grooming. But conservatives don't actually care about that type of grooming. That's legitimate grooming. They don't want to do anything about the fact that there's child marriage in 44 fucking states in this country. But this is where they freak out about. Nonsense. Something that's not actually happening. They don't care about the shit that's actually happening.
Since Pride Month began, but I don't even want to show it. It makes me sick. It makes me sick to even talk about it. The Libs of TikTok on Twitter has been posting a lot of it. One of the clips, again, I'm not going to show it, shows a young drag kid dancing around for a bunch of adults, and they're throwing dollar bills at him, just like in a strip club.
I did see that on Twitter, and that thing I am opposed to. That is too far. I agree, that is too far. But honestly, the rest of what you guys say is fucking nonsense.
Child beauty pageants in general are disgusting and should have been banned back in 1990 after the murder of JonBenet Ramsey.
And yeah, I do agree that the child beauty pageants are fucking weird too. For some reason, my mom used to watch them on TLC, I think they had it on. And I always thought they were like really, 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 really fucking weird. However, isn't that a big thing in Texas, an ultra right-wing fucking state? Isn't that like a big, big deal there? A big thing they like?
But now, they're literally having preteen boys dressed in drag, dancing around for adults in gay bars, and they're throwing dollar bills at them. And again, the clip that Libs of TikTok posted the other day isn't an isolated incident. Desmond is Amazing. He did this years ago.
Yeah, it's not an isolated incident. Somebody else did this years ago. So it's not isolated. 2 people have done it so far, years apart.
And it was crickets. Of course, only independent alternative media outlets covered it at the time, and we've been the only ones ringing the alarm bell about this kind of disgust ever since it first started occurring back about 5 years ago. But thankfully, people are finally starting to pay attention, and a state representative in Texas named Brian Slanton, who follows me on Twitter, by the way, he's a fan, is introducing a new bill which would ban parents, degenerate parents, from bringing their children to drag queen shows, which would also put an end to Drag Queen Story Hour in the state of Texas, which is a good start, and now state legislatures in all 50 states need to follow his lead. When California Democrat State Senator Scott Wiener heard about this new proposed bill, it gave him an idea to draw one up of his own, he said, which would offer Drag Queen 101 as part of the curriculum in California K-12 schools. You may say that he's just trolling, but Scott Wiener is the same California state senator who years ago introduced a bill to basically decriminalize gay men from knowingly spreading HIV to others. I guess technically it decriminalized everyone from spreading it, but as you know, certain people tend to be the ones who do that. And
Mark Dice admits to realizing he's generalizing and saying something that isn't particularly true. Proceeds to do it again. I mean, come on, you can't make this stuff up, bro. I mean, you can make stuff up. He just did. Mark Dice proves it every day. You can make things up. But
so Scott Wiener argued that the law was homophobic, and so he introduced a bill to remove the penalty from a felony down to just a misdemeanor, and it got passed. The former governor, Democrat of course, Jerry Brown, signed it into law. Not to mention that California and I think a half a dozen states now already have laws that mandate that kids in government schools, public schools, be taught LGBT history.
Oh no, they're teaching them LGBT history. They're only teaching the white man's history. But like, why does it matter? LGBTQ history is kind of important. Like the 70s and after, it's pretty important to American history. They had a pretty important movement. But I mean, the simple fact is that, and they still do this, just not as bad, you just want the days back when they basically did right-wing US imperialist propaganda. I mean, they still basically do that. They just are sort of very, very, very slowly moving away from that. It's still going to be imperialist propaganda, don't get me wrong. They will never talk about the horrible war crimes our country have committed. But, I mean, come on. You literally just want history censored. That's all you want. You want censored history. You want kids lied to about history.
California, the state as a whole, is a lost cause. There still are some local communities which are still viable, and of course there still are numerous states across the country which we can still save from the liberal pandemic. But conservatives and Christians need to stop being so cowardly. And maybe we should start using some of the leftist tactics against them. Like I said, we need to start picking up the phone and calling local branches every time a company goes woke, and then call them back the next day, the day after that, and maybe the following week, next month, just to remind them what it is that you think they're doing to this country.
Mark Dice is gonna pick up the phone and be like, "Can I speak to the manager, please?"
And like I said before, we need to start calling our congressional representatives and our senators on a regular basis and save their numbers in our phone contacts, because the only one that I've seen denounce this latest grooming effort so far has been Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Hey yo, the Karen shouts out the fucking Karen. Sorry. The Karen shouts out the more retarded Karen. Oh, fucking Christ, dude. Alright, I think this is where I cut the video off. The next, like, maybe minute or two was just him wasting time. So, speaking of Marjorie Taylor Greene, I did a video on her, like, a year ago, you could watch, where she basically commits, wearing a piece of cloth over your face as genocide to genocide. Yeah. Leave a... Oh, you can't leave a dislike anymore. You might as well leave a like. Otherwise, I guess do nothing? I don't know. Leave a comment telling me I'm a piece of shit. And, yeah, Slimber out.